Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just got enthusiastic to help you with grade 4 Connect Plus or Connect, both of them actually. I just thought to help you in such a procedural way that we can talk about activities, procedures, and things that we might do inside the classroom. Okay, not just talking and the theoretical frame. Forget about the theoretical frame. We are going to talk about procedures. How can you teach English in such an enjoyable way? How can you make your class funny or enjoyable for students? Okay. I would give you about or suggest 10 activities related to skills, to different skills. So you can start with them. Number 1. Any pattern you give to students, try to give it with a kind of a rhythm or a kind of musical sounds or voices that might help students to remember. Okay? Plus movement. So you are going to turn the sentences, the patterns of the unit of the lesson into a kind of song with movements. Okay, so I can think of many different examples. For example, on the left, on the right, in front or behind, we have many different songs, and you can create your own song. So number 1, songs. Okay, what about songs? Why songs? Songs instead of presentation. Songs instead of presentation. You would give them the word, the form, and they would understand the meaning by movement. So songs come first, or song comes first, okay, to start with in a classroom, instead of your presentation. So they have the pattern. For example, we smell with our nose, we see with our eyes. So you give them the meaning, you give them the sentence, and you give the names of the vocabulary or the names of the organs. This is number 1, your song. For listening activity, number 2, listening activity. Keep them listen and pause. Keep them listen and you pause. Keep them listen and you pause. After you pause, you might ask them, what is the last word you got? What is the last word you heard? What is the last 2 words you have? You have got, what is the last 3 words you have got? What is the last 4 words? What is the last sentence? What is the last phrase you have got? So you keep pausing and asking. You keep pausing and asking. This is very interesting for them. They will be attentive to listen to you, and it will help them to remember everything they listen to, and it will help them to understand. This is number 2, listening and pausing, or pausing and listening. Okay. Number 3, reading for details. Okay, you ask them, point out a word that starts with S, which means, or point out 3 words starting with S from the text, and then you talk about the word they bought. Again, point out a word that means the organs that we smell with. Nose, or starting with N. And many different examples you can think of. You can think of better examples, of course. Okay, give me the words, the word that starts with E and we can see with it. Or point out the word that we can see with, the organ that we can see with, and they start to find. If it is difficult for them, you might give them the initial letters, the first letters of the word. So this is number 2, finding vocabulary. Number 3, and this is somehow very important, and I believe that good teachers should have cards in the classroom. They should have cards in the classroom. They should have cards in the classroom. If you can do the cards yourself, ask students to bring the cards. One of the activities, for example, is to give them the organs, give them any vocabulary give them the pictures, and ask them to bring me a card about this picture. You name everyone to bring a card for a certain picture. So this is one of the activities. They will go, and the next day they will bring you many different cards if they can. If they are poor and they do not have they are not interested, or they do not want to participate, ask them to take out or cut out a paper of your note and use it as a card. Okay, just you have to deal with the situation you are in, with the school you are in, with the type of students you deal with. So you ask them to use these cards one by one, or even in a group one by one, or ask them to use these cards to fill in the spaces on the board, or to match the cards together, or to match the cards with the pictures or with the aspects in the book, even in the book. So this is number 4 or 5, I can't remember actually. Number 6, which is very important, we have different use for cards. Actually, you may use cards in very different ways, and you can use them to make students enjoy the process of learning, participate, and move inside the classroom in an organized way. And you might help students who do not participate or somehow introvert. You ask them to move, to stick the card to the other card, match the card with the picture, and so you get most of them will like to be involved with, or like to be get involved in the activities. This is number 5 or 4 or 6, whatever. So this is activities for listening, for speaking, which is the songs, working for speaking. You ask them to repeat the patterns. You ask them to talk together about one of the organs, or to describe the work of the organ. Okay? For example, one of them might act as a nose, another one might act as lungs, and so you can ask them to act and to talk about themselves as organs of the body. Again, okay, this is for speaking, okay? What about vocabulary? You might have a list, just a list of. You might get 2 students and ask them which one is going to answer first, which one is faster. You might include or get 3 students involved, not 2, and you might ask which one is faster, to point out the word which means, and so on. If they do not understand, if they are very young, you might ask them just about the initial words, which word is starting with N, for example, which word starts with E, which word starts with F, and so on. So when you do this, actually, when you ask students about trivial tasks, which point out a word which with N, for example, or with T, for example. When you do so, it is trivial, but actually he can do it, and you can enforce him when he does this. You got the point? You give him trivial task, he is able to do it, he will be encouraged to do more and to do better. So when you have a kind of weak students, ask them about something which is trivial. This is very simple. For example, give me a word starting with N, give me a word starting with S, and so on. So it will help them a lot. Here we have many different activities. You can ask them you can prepare a song. Actually, you will prepare the lesson very well. Inside the session, you will be able to, during the session and inside the classroom, you will enjoy it if you are well prepared. Okay? you will not do the work. They will do the work. So you ask them to sing, you pause, and you ask them to about the last word they have got. You ask them to point out vocabulary. You ask them to act or to pretend to be an organ of the body. You ask them to form. You ask them to use the cards in many different ways. You ask them about a list of words to point out many different words in groups or even individuals. And I wish you good luck. I don't want to take much time. Thank you.